But he says, I will destroy it, but not utterly. So it won't, Israel won't cease to exist. Amos 9:9, for lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations. And this isn't talking about Jews. I've done videos and documents explaining that Jews, the genuine Jews, are simply one of the tribes of Israel. You cannot just simply say Israel and Jews interchangeably. It doesn't work that way. It is not correct. In verse 9 it says, for lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. Verse 10, Amos 9, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. That is wrath. And these sinners say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. So we just feel that we are untouchable. And the eternal God says, you are not untouchable, because I am going to touch you. And he is touching us because of our rejection of him and our total and utter rebellion. You know, I've said so many times, we cannot steal, plunder, torture, and kill and believe there is not a price to pay. To believe this is to be totally ignorant of the Word of God. And I have to tell you, there are televangelists out there telling people by the million, it's okay to kill all those Muslims and Arabs, as they like to refer to them. Well, it's not. You know, we sowed the wind. I've said this so many times, and we will. It's inevitable. There is no way out. We will reap the whirlwind. Hosea chapter 8 and starting in verse 8, Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. And as I said, think English-speaking people. Don't think Jews. Hosea 8:9, for they are gone up to Assyria, a wild ass alone by himself. Ephraim, the British, have hired lovers. Hosea 8:10, yea, though they have hired among the nations, now will I gather them, and they shall sorrow a little for the burden of the king of princes. Hosea 8:11, because Ephraim hath made many altars to sin, altars shall be unto him to sin. Verse 12, I have written to him the great things of my law, but they were counted as a strange thing. And how many people go absolutely berserk when you start speaking about the law? They tell you it's done away with. How foolish. The law of gravity hasn't been done away with. None of the laws have been done away with. It's what keeps us alive, the rigidity and the permanence of law. Hosea 8:13, they sacrifice flesh for the sacrifices of mine offerings, and eat it, but the Lord accepteth them not. Now will he remember their iniquity and visit their sins. They shall return to Egypt. Notice, the nation of Israel went into captivity those thousands of years ago under the time of Moses into Egypt. And we are told here that we are going to be returned to Egypt once more. You see, many of the people we think are friends are not friends at all. I mentioned this in the Northern Army. I said, you know, at the moment we think the Greeks are our friends. But in my Northern Army, I showed you the scriptures from Joel, which says we're going to be sold to the Greeks. I pointed out that Turkey isn't what you think it is. And Turkey is going to be allied with the Northern Army. And now, just in the past few days, Russia and Turkey are having a group hug. Oh yes. Reality. Hosea 8:14, for Israel hath forgotten his maker, and buildeth temples, and Judah hath multiplied fenced cities. The people down in Israel, haven't they built this massive wall all around the place? Of course they have. But I will send a fire upon his cities, and it shall devour the palaces thereof. Israel and Judah are coming under the hammer. You know, there is no defense against the wrath of God. None. We are now seeing the collapse of the world's finances. Some are telling us to go and buy gold or silver. They see that paper has no value. An extreme example is Zimbabwe, as we have mentioned before, where a sliver of toilet paper is worth more than any currency note you can choose to bring. Gold and silver is no defense. Ezekiel 7:19, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed, and their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. Oh yes, the Bible talks a great deal about wrath. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity. Our God is our stomach, one of our gods. Oh yes. Obesity is a problem in the English-speaking nations. It's not a problem down in the African countries, though, where they have no food. The only security is to be genuinely Spirit-led, repentant, and obedient as a believer. There is no other way. You know, the angelic hosts and mankind has to learn the lesson once and for all, that there is only one conclusion to sin, and that is death. Most are under the delusion that the Old Testament is just a list of do's and don'ts. They think most of these laws are silly and pointless. They do not realize that we break these laws at our peril. If you eat something you shouldn't eat, you get sick. It's as simple as that. You don't rest on the Sabbath, you're going to wear out. And we can go through all the laws and point out there are penalties. You kill, you're going to suffer. You commit abortion, you're going to suffer. You kill people in war, it's going to mess your mind. Every law has an eternal purpose. Every law is required to benefit all life in the universe. So when we transgress these laws, we sin and we die.